Blessed day, teachers and Mrs. G. I am Angel Michalvis and today I'll walk you through the journey of transforming abstract theories into meaningful classroom practices. As educators, we often hear terms like behaviorism, social cultural learning, and many more. We actually encountered this one in our previous discussion here in Theories of Language. But the question is, how often do we evaluate their practical impact in diverse real-world classroom settings? Today's discussion does exactly that, grounding theory in practice using authentic case studies. Supposedly, we'll have this recapitulation 50, wherein I'll ask you a question. So, this time, ponder on these questions. In your experience as an educator, how have theoretical frameworks influenced the way you plan or modify your classroom practices? Can you recall a moment when a specific theory helped you understand a classroom situation better? So for today's interaction, theories, and I'll be discussing theories and practice, and I'll be presenting 4 case studies from diverse contexts, explaining the use of theories that we have discussed before into real classroom setting. So these are the goals or the target learning of today's discussion. Number 1, define theory to practice. 2, examine and analyze case studies from diverse contexts. 3, describe how educational practice or theory are applied in actual classroom situations. And lastly, evaluate their effectiveness in addressing specific teaching and learning needs. First, to define theory to practice or to give you an enlightenment of theory to practice. Theory to practice allows validation and refinement of theoretical knowledge through real-world application, leading to a deeper understanding of concepts and improved problem solving. Because we know that theories alone doesn't teach students. Practice does. However, theory informs how we teach and adapt. The strength of bridging theory to practice lies in its reciprocal value. 2 things. 1, practice validates or challenges the theory. Second, theory refines practice. As highlighted by Darling Hammond, 2006, teacher learning is most effective when embedded in practice and connected to theory, because it fosters innovation, leading to the advancement of field, it makes learning relevant, it improves teaching methods, and lastly, develops effective professionals. It ensures teaching remains informed, and encourages innovation, particularly with changing learning demographics. And lastly, it improves students' outcomes, especially when theories are used as tools for solving problems. Let's dwell on the first case study. First case study is the use of social learning theory by Albert Bandura to and grade 11 named, I mean rather, an 11-years-old bilingual. He was diagnosed with autism at the age of 9. Actually he struggled with second language acquisition, specifically Norwegian, and his academics, and especially in social communication. So video modeling was the one or the intervention provided for Alan. Video modeling is an evidence-based teaching strategy that uses video recordings to demonstrate desired behaviors or skills to learners. The learner watches the video, observes the model performing the skill, and attempts to imitate the behavior. So, video modeling is a well validated intervention documented in the behavioral sciences. It's commonly used to students with or diagnosed with autism. So, in the case study, it showed that video modeling was an effective intervention for helping students with autism, specifically like Alan, who developed social communication skills that he previously could not do. But there was an highlighted findings in the case study, saying that one of the important factors that create the condition for learning through video modeling is the teacher's interests and interest for learning about video modeling and using it properly, according to Ozark and Ozark 2015. To avoid confirmation bias in presenting these case studies, I'll also present the limitation of the case studies. So in this case study, there is the limitation of the intervention was there was a difficulty of implementing and managing video modeling in a real school setting compared to control clinical environment. So of course, since in clinical setting, there are no or less distraction compared to a real classroom when there's students, teachers, and schedules to follow. So this limitation is explicitly discussed in the discussion section of the study. Quote unquote, we found that video modeling in the school setting is more challenging than when it is conducted in clinical setting. It was very challenging to register the results during the process without disturbing the children's activities without without drawing their attention to the registration process. The given result, it was evident that the student, Alan, really learned and really adapt to the video modeling. The skills showed it through video modeling. However, there is also a limitation. So I have here a question for you to ponder. What practical adaptations can we make to overcome the challenges of implementing structured interventions like video modeling in a busy school environment without compromising students' instructional time and students' engagement? We are now down to the second case study, and this case study is a study by Ospida et al. 2014. It involves multilingual learners defying the critical period hypothesis by acquiring language beyond adolescence. This case study is entitled A Case Study of Adventurous Adult Language Learners by Sweden and et al. Like what I had mentioned, this study investigates on the sociocultural theories central concept, which includes peer interaction and feedback, private speech, and lastly, self-efficacy. The present study is a case study of 20 participants. Data was actually collected through systematic interviews. The participants for this case study were from different nationalities: Iran, China, Japan, Azerbaijan, Egypt, and Turkey, who demonstrated a unique ability to learn languages long after a critical period and who has been living in the US for about more than 2 years. The participants were asked to answer questions regarding the challenges or opportunities they experienced during their language learning process. In data analysis, the answers of the participants to the questions related with peer interaction, feedback, private speech, and self-efficacy as a central concept of sociocultural theory were analyzed to determine the similarities and differences between their answers and inferences. And it was actually drawn based on the answers below. Number one, so it was says that peer interaction fosters deeper language learning. Feedback, when constructive and timely, boosted confidence in language acquisition. Next is private speech became a self-regulatory tool. The participants shared that throughout all their language experiences, working with peers had a major influence on their learning of the language. These are the following findings. Number one, peer interaction has a major influence on the language learning process of most of the participants. Self-efficacy had or can have a direct effect on language learning process since it forces individuals to reach their goals. Another one says that language teachers should be careful about how and when they give feedback to students since giving feedbacks means more than simply correcting students. And lastly, the participants in the study view